and welcome to Pod and Long. I'm your host, Ryan. It is great to have you with us. I'm here with my co-host, Megastar Mark. Welcome to the show.
Why, thank you, Ryan. It's wonderful to be here for Week 3 football action.
And our other co-host, Drew, who needs a nickname.com. It's Drew. Welcome.
Hey, good to be here. I don't know what y'all are talking about. Week 3 for me, it's week 4.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Week 4. Drew needs
somebody. My semester starts earlier.
Somebody needs to get that link for us. Drew needs a nickname.com where we can
I'm certain that's available.
Can we get that? Somebody get that for us.
See, the problem with having a one-syllable name and a multi-syllable difficult last name is that nobody ever saw a reason to come up with a nickname for me. It was always just Drew.
Just Drew. Yeah. Didn't you apply to Drew University? Or am I forgetting
No,
that?
I never actually applied, but I did have a shirt for Drew University
Right, there it is.
for a while.
That's right.
Yeah,
I remember that.
I never applied.
Yep.
Oh my goodness. It was week 3 that we're going to recap. We got some our segments are here. We got the Foo Bar. We got the Stripe Spiral.
Yep.
What else do we have?
Oh, that should
We
be
have
a good
broadcasting moments of the week. It's going to be a busy show.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to try to get Drew a nickname someday. And we got our categories. Let's start with the big story for me and maybe all of you. The 70 steamer that was dropped on the Broncos by the Dolphins. And I'm not trying to rub salt in the wound, Broncos. I'm not trying to do it. Your fans came up with that term. Mm-hmm. Instead of a 70 burger, they claim it should be called a 70 steamer. 70-20. Dolphins over Broncos. Sad boy boat. Littered with Sean Payton.
Don't bury the lead, but Sean Payton's might as well be the captain of the SS Sad Boy boat at this point.
Oh my God. 10 touchdowns were scored. They could have set, the Dolphins could have set the NFL record for most points.
Yeah.
They chose not to. They could have.
They were running up the score a little bit. I mean, I get it at the end, but
they didn't kick a field goal when they could have.
Without, keeping your foot down on the pedal there. So
okay. They put in a backup.
They did.
Mike fucking White got in there.
Fucking White, baby. He looked good, didn't he?
When if you're talking about salt in the wound, when he threw a bomb touchdown to Chosen, I'm like, who is Chosen?
Yeah, right.
Robbie Anderson, the artist formerly known.
Yeah. The ghost of Robbie Anderson made an appearance.
Ghost of Robbie Anderson shows up for all he does is catch touchdowns that are over 80 yards.
You could have asked me where he is, and I would have said the CFL. Like, I cannot believe he's still here.
That was a song. You thought he was on Caw Nation?
Yeah. Thought he was part of Caw Nation.
Oh my God, Caw Nation.
What a performance. I mean, obviously one of the best offensive performances in NFL history. So they are so fast. How do you stop this team? They're ridiculous.
They didn't even have several of their players weren't in on offense. Waddle didn't play.
No, he didn't play.
I always wonder when something like this happens, like what happened behind the scenes that we don't know about?
Yeah.
Like I've long believed, not to bring the Dolphins into it again, but they
I know
were on the other end of it.
I know where you're going with this.
When the Jaguars absolutely blew up and sent Jimmy Johnson and Dan Marino home forever in the same game.
Wow.
Like was that like Tom Coughlin strikes me as a man with a long memory. And was that payback for some University of Miami game where they ran it up against Boston College?
Yes.
And so it makes me wonder, like, what is there between the Dolphins and Broncos that we don't know about? Other than the fact that I think Mike McDaniel was on the Broncos staff at one point.
He was a ball boy for the
Broncos or something. Like
he was a ball boy.
Because this kind of thing doesn't happen by accident, right? Unless you're Bill Belichick against the Titans that one time.
I think, honestly, I mean, that's a good point, Drew. Like, maybe he felt like maybe he applied for a position or went for a coordinator job and never got it. And you just
he interviewed for the head coach in 2020.
Did he really?
Yes, I heard that.
There you go.
I don't know if that means he has an axe to grind, but maybe.
I can see how he'd be slighted by that. I mean, in just, I think also, by the way, I know it's the Broncos, but the Dolphins' defense was also
looked really good.
I think
really good.
Nobody's really talking about that, and obviously, when you drop 70 points, everyone's going to talk about that. But that defense was real good. And like Russell Wilson had 300 yards, but it was like it's like garbage time after 5 minutes. Like, I mean, they weren't going to even come close to winning this game. So,
meaningless.
Yeah, right. Just an amazing performance.
Should we talk about Sean Payton's press conference?
Yeah.
Next question. I already answered that.
Yeah.
Sean.
Own up to it. You spent this offseason talking shit and all this offseason blaming the previous staff for all the Broncos' woes, and they are decidedly worse.
Nathaniel Hackett never gave up 70 points.
Yeah.
Sure didn't.
No.
Neither did Paxton Lynch.
There's a name.
Yep. First rounder, Paxton Lynch.
Oh, boy. Yeah, I mean, wow. They couldn't stop the run.
Nope.
Eight touchdowns came from the 2 running backs.
Yeah.
Yep.
Neither of which are really well known. I mean, we know Mostert a little bit, but Achane, never heard of him before.
The rookie, right?
He's a rookie, right?
Yeah. Also, if you're Miami, stop looking at Jonathan Taylor. You don't need it. You don't need to take on that salary. You don't need to take on that headache. You don't need to give up draft picks. You are fine. Yes.
Don't they have another guy? Don't they have somebody's hurt?
Somebody was
Jeff
hurt.
Wilson? Is he hurt?
Abdul-Jabbar.
Yeah, the running back. I remember that.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
I remember him. Yep, I remember that.
Oh my God!
Wow, what a game! What a game!
I'm sorry.
Unbelievable. The first pass of the game.
I know.
There was nobody in the screen, just Tyreek Hill and nobody else. What are you doing? It's the first pass.
And it's Tyreek Hill. He's the one you focus on.
Nobody near him.
Right.
Oh, God. It was silly. It was really silly. I feel like we need to dance on the Broncos' grave a little bit more. But
I just hate him. Pete Carroll.
My goodness.
I hate Pete Carroll more than anybody. But he's up there. It's a smug attitude, blaming everybody else. I just hate those people in general in life. So it was wonderful to see this happen.
This is not in broadcasting moments of the week, but I saw Terry Bradshaw say, like, on the stupid OT, like, well, Sean, because he was on that show. Sean doesn't have his quarterback yet. What does that have to do with anything that happened? He gave up 70 points. He gave up the most points since 1966 in the NFL. That's before we landed on the fucking moon, Terry. That's how long it's been since somebody scored this many points.
Was Terry playing in 66?
Yeah, he might have been.
That's a good question.
Yeah.
Good old Terry. I mean, I love Terry, but wow.
Terry needs to step aside.
I don't think
Russell
Wilson...
I don't want to go off on a tangent here, but like him and Jimmy Johnson need to go bye-bye.
I don't know. I like Terry, but boy, oh boy. Russell's not the problem in this game. I'll make fun of Russell Wilson all day long, but my God.
It's fun.
Okay. All right. Next category is like the Prophets, Limp Bizkit. These guys keep rolling. The 49ers, Tom Cruise right past the Giants. Just an easy win. The Giants they're like a fly to the 49ers. This 49ers team, I don't care about the Giants team. Is there anything to say about the Giants? I don't care at all. Could care less. There's nothing there other than Dayball licking his lips. There's nothing in this game.
Thanks for sharing that GIF with me. I'm never going to forget that image.
The GIF of Dayball real close.
I think a sausage sees right there.
Good God. It reminded me of Kingpin, but reversed.
The Giants, I think a lot of people called this, that they were going to have a down year after taking a lot of teams by surprise.
Yeah.
Dayball still hasn't changed anything. It's still the same offense, so everyone knows how it's going to behave. So until he adjusts, they're just not going to be competitive. Not against the good teams, anyway.
The Giants clearly put a lot of eggs in a few baskets.
Yeah.
None of which remain available to them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Remember how Darren Waller was going to change Giants football as we knew it? And as all Giants tight ends do, he was going to be the next Mark Bavaro. And it hasn't worked out that way.
No,
they're just not good.
They're just flat out not good. And they weren't that good last year.
No. Once teams figured it out, once teams understood what they were doing, shut them down.
49ers they really feel like a team that's just going to cruise, and it's going to be like 15-1 or whatever records now, 16-2, whatever it's going to be. They're going to just cruise and then eventually step on a rake and be kicked out of the playoffs. They face no adversity, and they're just going to get walloped by somebody in the playoffs, like the Eagles, who have like 6 losses, and like, we've been through it. We can get through this. We're going to beat you.
This strikes me as a team that's going to lose in the NFC Championship game. And I hate saying I really like the Niners, but there's this weird aura about them
They have it. Yes, right. I feel it. Like, I feel like they're going to get just smacked in the face in the playoffs at some point.
Yeah. They are really good.
They're very good. It might not happen.
Debo is amazing. He is
also the NFC stinks. They might go undefeated. Holy shit.
That's just it. You remember all those years, late 80s, early 90s through about 94 when the Niners would just run roughshod over their crappy division, and it felt like they'd never been tested, but it turned out they had never been tested and were the best team in football. That still remains a possibility for this Niners team, but I can't bring myself to trust Mr. Irrelevant as their quarterback. I feel bad saying that because he's done nothing but be excellent. But it's like, at some point, like, nobody thought you were good.
Yeah.
But the excellence is bizarre, to be fair.
Like, what's
the excellence is 6-yard outs to Debo Samuel that he takes to the house and little screens to McCaffrey. Like, he is good and he can execute those things. But he can't, like, he's not out there gunslinging. Like, if he has to be in that position.
In his defense, speaking of old Giants glory days, like, Brock Purdy checks a lot of the boxes of the old Bill Parcells quarterback test. Like, 2 or 3 year starter in college, won 75% of his games, has completion percentage over X. Like, he checks a lot of those boxes. Now, there's a ton of dudes that check those boxes. Sure. But, it's as opposed to Justin Fields, who checks very few of those boxes. You see a guy who is an accomplished winner, at the very least, coming into the league. So, I don't know. Maybe there's something to him, but I have a hard time trusting Mr. Irrelevant.
Yeah, agreed. I think a defensive coordinator is just going to figure him out. And I think, then you can just stack the box. And I feel like that's the danger. I also think, Christian McCaffrey, there's always this shadow over him, or cloud over him, excuse me.
Sure.
That injury history is kind of scary. He's been okay the last, year-ish, but
if he goes down, you're in trouble.
Right.
Ironic that he was the only guy in the NFC Championship game last year who didn't get hurt.
Yeah, he was fine.
Right. Yeah, of course that happened. Now that he's not a Panther. All right. Moving on. Keep rolling. Bills crush the Commanders. Absolutely crush these guys. Mark, you must have felt great. This was never even close. Yep. Never even close.
I mean, it was Josh Allen didn't play great. The
offense even need to.
No, and that's the thing. They didn't need to, which is where the Bills need to be. They can't keep constantly putting it on this man to win these games. So defense played outstanding. Running game was back where it was what it was, the week before as well. They committed to the run. So then I hope it continues. We'll see. Big test coming up.
Are we Are we collectively done with Limp Bizkit references? Because
we're out.
I can't believe I agreed to be on this show.
I hear James Cook did it all.
They're big in Germany. Yeah. What are you talking about?
So all right, a brief story, probably not worth telling.
About Limp Bizkit?
Yes,
it's worth it. It's worth it.
A friend of mine went to see them recently because they were playing at a casino and he got tickets for free through the casino.
Okay.
All of those that makes perfect sense. Everything you
checks out.
Yeah.
And my friend he's my age. He's give or take 40 years old, and he is in a wheelchair. And he said, right as they're playing Rolling, he's like, Fred Durst looked over and pointed to my wheelchair and said, "Gotta keep rolling." Just start singing, "Gotta keep rolling." And he's like, He's like, I know that at 40 this sounds lame. He's like, but my inner 16-year-old thought it was the coolest fucking thing that's ever happened to me.
I think that's great.
Yeah.
I love it. Want to hear a funny story about this game?
Sure.
I own all Bills in fantasy and all Commanders, oddly enough. A lot of Commanders on my team.
Mm-hmm.
And I have this new fantasy football policy. Like I said many episodes ago, I have a terrible track record in fantasy football.
Wait, is this your 9 quarterback league?
Yes, in my 9 quarterback league.
Howell.
Yeah,
I have Sam Howell. So I have a new fantasy football policy to try to enjoy these games where I will just open my own roster, not the matchup, just the roster page on ESPN, and I will just look at my own score for a while and I don't need to know what the other team's doing. Just want to enjoy my team. Well, obviously Sam Howell had 5 turnovers. I was like, okay, this is not going well. I will now check at 4:00. My opponent had the Bills defense.
Oh God.
It couldn't have gone any worse. Sam Howell throwing over points to the Bills defense. So that was fun. That was really unfun.
So you won.
Oh, I got murdered. Absolutely murdered.
Justin Fields. Oh, no.
Oh, God. Sam Howell, what are you doing?
You idiot. What are you doing?
Stop it. I was talking to several people we'll get to him. I was talking to several people in my league last night, and I go, yeah, I had Sam Howell. And they were like, look at his stats. He somehow didn't get a negative rating. Even though he had 5 turnovers, he still had like 0.37 points. Like, okay, silver lining. Good for him. All right, moving on. Next category.
I want to touch.
Okay, go ahead.
Really quick on the Bills. Real quick. Run defense needs work because they were getting gashed by the Commanders in that game. So they got to shore that up. And I'm very excited about how many. They definitely got a lot of pressures. They had a lot of sacks finally because they've been getting pressures. So I would like to see that.
Okay.
And I'm very excited to see how this team does when Vaughn comes back, which will be
oh my God,
not this week. He should come back the week following, but they play in fucking London as a home game, and so he can't make the travel because of inflammation of the knee. So it'll be against the Giants on Monday Night Football.
Oh. Wow, I totally forgot he was even on the team.
Poor
Holy
Daniel
shit.
Jones.
Daniel Jones is going to be scared. Did you see the zoom in on his eyes when he in the 49ers game where he looked legit scared?
Yeah.
Like, oh shit. I'm going to die in this game. All right, moving on. Next category is T-Swizzle. The Chiefs annihilate the Bears in front of Taylor Swift.
God.
This Taylor Swift thing is going to get really old really quick.
Oh,
that's my prediction.
I already saw today that Travis Kelce's jersey sales are up 400% since she appeared in the box.
Yes.
What's the under/over on Taylor Swift cutaway shots from here to the end of the season?
$1 million.
Per game.
$1
God.
I mean, that's
the first thing they showed when they showed the game. They're like, Taylor's here. I mean, good for her.
But this is the only funny part of this for me. So I was hanging out with my parents watching football at their house on Sunday, and of course the Chiefs game is on in some form or fashion, and my mom goes, Drew, I know you'll know, why is Taylor Swift at the Chiefs game? And I said, well, she's apparently dating their tight end Travis Kelce, to which my mom immediately replied, well, she does get around. Which is like, that's the closest to atomic mom burn that my mom is capable of.
Burns. How likely do you think we get a Kelce song by the end of the season?
Oh, God.
We get a song,
110%.
A diss track on Kelce?
Yes,
at some point?
Absolutely.
I'm just going to point this out. Josh Allen is dating Haley Stanfield. Not only is she an actress, but she's also a singer, okay? Let's just point out all the things that Haley Stanfield has been in.
What's she in?
True Grit.
Great
movie.
Good.
Great movie. She's the voice of Gwen Stacy in that animated
Spider-Man movie. Like that.
Right. And she's got singles. She does a lot of music stuff. Let's look at Taylor Swift. She's got singles, sure.
She's who's what superhero's friend in the bow and arrow guy?
Hawkeye.
Yeah, she's a girl Hawkeye. Yeah,
she's Hawkeye's friend.
Josh Allen's fucking an Avenger. Okay, let's look at, like I said, let's look at Taylor Swift. What was she in? Cats. That was it. That was her acting. All right. Haley Stanfield.
Josh Allen is having sex with an Avenger right now.
Right. Exactly. He could have sex with any Avenger. Okay?
Avenger Light. Avenger
Doesn't
Light.
matter which one. Hulk, fine. That's cool.
Say Mark Ruffalo.
Mark Ruffalo, absolutely.
In my head.
So, just pointing it out there. All right. How come we don't see close-ups of Haley at Bills games doing a bowling ball shot or
we need that going through a flaming table?
Yeah.
Oh, she's not a supportive girlfriend like
seriously.
Taylor is.
Haley would have taken a shot out of someone's butt cheeks. That's all I'm saying.
This. Oh my God. This reminded me. Jesus Christ. You only get this on nobody else is talking about butt cheek shots except for us. This reminded me of Jessica Simpson and Tony Romo so much of like that game.
Shit,
remember that?
And now Carrie Underwood and Tony Romo.
Oh yeah.
That happened.
Right. That also happened. Yeah. Good for Tony. He got around. Tony gets around.
Tony got around. Tony also apparently has a type.
Yeah. Yes, he does.
Even his current wife looks exactly like the two of them. All right. We can't do that. Anyway, I like Tony.
There's no good out for us here.
No, there's no good out. T-Swizzle.
Tony Romo has improved this year. In at least the early games that I've heard him in, he's better than he was last year.
He had bad moments last year, but I always thought like he's better than Phil Simms was. Like Phil Simms, like this third down's gonna be big. Yeah, thanks, Phil.
The problem with Phil Simms is that Phil Simms wanted to tell you about back when he was Phil Simms.
Right.
That was the overwhelming majority of his commentary. Remember when I went 22-25 in that one Super Bowl 30 years ago?
Yeah, that was 1986, Phil. You didn't even play in the second one.
I'm gonna say, remember when you didn't play in the second one and Jeff Hostetler won a Super Bowl? In fact, he's won the same number of Super Bowls as you.
And he was the Raiders quarterback for a long time.
I remember.
Yeah, and was perfectly adequate by the standard of Raiders quarterbacks since then.
Let's talk about the Bears. The Chiefs were good. They won. They blew the Bears out. All right, Bears. The no good, very bad week of the Bears. First, their defensive coordinator gets fired or forced to resign or raided by the FBI, who may or may not have had Charles Peanut Tillman working for them, a former Bear. There's so many things here. Okay, that happened. That guy left.
Chief Devin Hester really wants to.
Holy shit. Oh, did you see, sidebar, did you see the clip of Devin Hester that came out this week of him talking to Pete Carroll in the NFL?
Oh. What?
You didn't see this? Okay.
No.
This is it's a clip from a long time ago of Devin Hester warming up before a game. And you'll appreciate this, I think, because he goes over to Pete Carroll. And he goes, "Hey, Pete, why didn't you recruit me and at USC?" And Pete's like, "I don't know." He goes, "I was the best cornerback in the country. You didn't recruit me." And he goes, "We didn't know about you. What school did you go to?" And he says, whatever school it was, I forget, some Florida school. And he's like, "Yeah, we never really got into Florida really well." And then Hester goes, "I played in California in the Florida-California championship in high school. I was the MVP. I did this, and this, and you still didn't recruit me, Pete. What's up?" And Pete's just like, "I don't know," and walks away.
Devin,
it's a very funny.
Be happy
clip.
He didn't recruit you. He would have bailed.
It's a very funny clip of him calling out Pete Carroll. Anyway, what were we talking about? The Bears. Oh, their fucking D coordinator did something. We still don't know what it was. Soldier Field was robbed of $100,000 worth of equipment at some point.
Ugh.
And then they played this game. Oh, and also Justin Fields says the coaches are bad.
And that he's going to ignore them, by the way.
Yes.
What? I mean, what else?
Wow.
I'm not making light by comparing these things. I'm not making light of any of these situations because there's not a lot of light to be made. But this was the weirdest week for the Bears since the whole like Alonzo Spellman hotel naked in his bathroom, like had to get Mike Singletary to come talk him down incident. And that
football
like
pooper.
every bit of that was just as weird as every bit of this. But that's where my mind went first, is like, what a strange string of events.
Yeah. I can't believe this head coach is still there.
Well, we've talked about it several times. Nobody knows. If I pulled up a picture of Eberflus right now, you wouldn't know who he is.
Nope.
How is he not? He's got to be first coach fired. He's on the list. Ron Rivera, I think, has avoided first coach fired.
Ron will make it through the season. I just don't. I think he might decide to leave.
Sean Payton can't be fired.
No.
Ron will make it through the season because new ownership hasn't taken over yet.
Yeah,
right.
And
they're perfectly willing to leave him there.
Ron at his heart is a very classy and well-respected coach. I think and also I've always said he has an out at any time, and he should. He does have some health concerns that he's still working through, so he can just say, you know what, I'm just gonna thanks for the ride, but I think I might take a couple years. So
yeah,
but he's now going on like 6 weeks that he hasn't been called a racial slur, so
he's happy.
Life's still looking up for Riverboat Ron.
I like Ron.
I love Riverboat. Even though he doesn't know what his record is or who his quarterbacks are or any of that. That's been comical. Anyway, the Bears, wow. The Bears might be the worst team in the NFL. And then, you know what's sad? My team fucking stinks, and they're going to get 2 top 5 picks probably, and really just piss me off.
Both of them. It'll be great.
It's
hopefully they screw them both up.
It's worth mentioning. You know who is deeply concerned about the Bears?
Is it X-Pac?
No, it's not X-Pac. Is it Jaylen Brown? Is it Jaylen Brown?
Yeah. No, Jaylen Brown's got his money. He's perfectly happy.
All right. Who could it be?
All the mascots in.
It's Caleb Williams' dad. Deeply concerned about the Chicago Bears.
Caleb Williams' dad. I would be. They can't even keep their equipment in their building. How the fuck are they going to protect Caleb Williams? Caleb Williams' dad, the new favorite on this show.
I bet we could get him on this show.
Can we get him?
Yeah.
Wait, is he available?
If we get him and say you don't have to talk about your son.
Say whatever you want.
Talk about football. Just talk about other games and just see what we can do with that. That way, there's no conflict of interest there.
Say whatever you want. Caleb Williams' dad.
Just goes a 40-minute tirade about the Bears.
The worst part is because I'm me in my head. I just picture now that there's like a couch somewhere where like our podcast is up streaming on a TV, and Caleb Williams' dad and Jaylen Brown and Otto Porter are all sitting there watching.
and then somehow X-Pac is in the kitchen. How are you? What are you doing here?
Hey
those guys don't know he's there.
Yeah, I'm just here for the fajitas.
Yeah, pass. Did you make them with your hands? Pass.
No, X-Pac, we're not eating those.
No.
No way. Oh boy, the Bears! What a disaster!
I don't even know where you go from here.
Like, what a disaster!
Do they win a game? Like they play the Broncos this week, right?
Oh yeah, Shit Bowl 2023.
This is it.
This is it. My favorite game of the week.
I'm just saying, Bears fans, if you ain't gotten this one, it might not happen.
We're only 4 weeks in, and that game has already become the only gamblers care about this bowl of the season.
Yes.
Caleb Williams' dad will care about that.
That's true. Caleb Williams' dad cares deeply about the outcome of this game.
Maybe the Broncos we're gonna see Caleb Williams. All right, next category. Elves got a elf. The Browns beat the Titans. How can the Titans go from 1 week? I'm sorry, Greg's not here, but how can the Titans go from so good, beat the Chargers, to so bad, can't score a touchdown against the Browns?
I mean, Greg talked about this last year when the whole coaching staff was intact. This is just a very inconsistent team from week to week, and this is an 8-9 or 9-8 team. This is, I think, what we're seeing.
And by the way, how does Derrick Henry have 11 carries for 20 yards? That
makes no sense.
How does that happen?
Yep.
That hasn't happened to him ever.
Yep. I don't know. I feel like this is going to be up and down all year. And I do really think they need to give that rookie quarterback a shot. I mean, toward the end, they have to see what they got in him, you know? Milk guy, what's his name?
Will Levis.
There you go. Thank you.
Kentucky's Will Levis.
Just drinking mayonnaise. Afraid of milk, but he'll drink mayonnaise.
In his coffee, right?
And yes, in his coffee.
Yes, mayonnaise in his coffee.
Holy fuck. His girlfriend that we talked a lot about during the draft, and they broke up, and that was a big story on Barstool. They broke up. Come on, Barstool. What are you doing? That's the best you got? All right. I don't know. What else is there to say here? The Browns were decent. The Titans sucked. The Browns defense is really good.
It is really good.
Defense is really good.
It is, and
I'm not sure what else to say
because they don't have a certain somebody on that team on that side of the ball. I love how they signed Kareem Hunt. I think that's hysterically funny.
Why not? I mean,
like, gotta find the one guy to like. It's actually almost as bad as Deshaun Watson.
He's problematic. Yeah. He's problematic. Imagine if he didn't do that shit and he was still on the Chiefs. Holy shit!
Right.
All right. Category one of my favorite every week. It's back every week. What? The Cardinals beat the Cowboys. The Cardinals, who I thought was the worst team in the NFL. Boy, was I wrong. They took it to the Cowboys.
They play tough. Dobbs,
I'm telling you. Hard. They play tough. James Conner, my God, give that guy a lot of credit. Yep. He's out there fucking going for it. He doesn't care.
I love his emotion. I really do love that, where you just like, he'll get one and then like just like pump up the crowd and get them going. And it's
that guy.
What you got to do.
Give a lot of credit to James Conner. But boy, oh boy, what the hell happened here? The Cowboys. Did they forget that they were playing in this game?
I think I texted you guys, like, when you absolutely positively need a game-winning drive, you can guarantee Dak's going to fuck that up because that's what he does.
Jesus Christ.
It's a shame because I want to like Dak, but...
I like him as a person, but I like Tony Romo as a person, too.
I know.
And he shared a similar skill set and
couldn't
inability.
Hold a field goal kick.
Yeah, right.
And I mean, Diggs doesn't make that much of a difference, does he?
No.
We're suddenly getting run over by the Cardinals.
And that was the thing. It was the run game that was the biggest problem, for the Cowboys. So.
Right. And listen, I mean, like I said, Connor's a beast, but Cowboys are supposed to be stout through the center.
Yeah.
They're getting bowled over.
And you can say, the Trayvon Diggs injury, which that sucks to be injured in practice like that. But he's not stopping the run.
Yeah.
No.
Why couldn't you stop the run still?
Mm-hmm.
I
mean, that's scary for that team. 2 weeks ago we were talking about them as being right up there with the Niners.
Not so.
I mean, if you're going now, once again, this is probably going to be a team that will bounce back strong this week because you have to.
Yeah.
Otherwise, there's major issues, and so I think they will come back strong. I think they will probably string together a couple more wins, but like this shows me this isn't a Super Bowl challenging team when you lose to the Cardinals like this.
Yeah.
This is last year Greg had the theory that that Jerry Jones likes he likes his team to make the playoffs, get one home playoff game so he can get that paycheck, and then doesn't care afterward. Doesn't care if they lose, doesn't care if they win because he got that one.
As long as they're good enough to get that check,
right? And he's on national TV and all that stuff. So
talked about.
I mean, kind of accurate.
I mean, the Cardinals have always had like a thing with the Cowboys, like going back to Jake Plummer, right? They've always had like a one-sided rivalry. I don't know, but like they've always wanted to get the Cowboys. I feel like over the years,
some of those heated games with late era Danny White and early era Tim Rosenbach, must-see television.
They've always had like a little bit of.
Neil Lomax had a gleaming eye.
I mean, Emmitt Smith left and went to the Cardinals. You know. I just remember that. Was it a playoff game? Jake Plummer beat the Cowboys in a playoff game.
Jake the Snake, baby. Let Jesus guide this ball. It was the best stat ever, Drew.
It's the greatest stat I've ever heard. Does Ryan know the stat?
I don't think so. Please explain.
Jake Plummer at least once, led the league in passes with no intended receiver.
Jesus, take the wheel.
Deep in that thing and assuming someone's coming down with it, which I love the confidence.
That guy is beat. Like he beat the triplets. Right. He beat was it Peyton Manning or Brady? He beat Brady in the playoffs.
Yeah.
He beat Brady. Nobody remembers that.
Jake the Snake, baby.
He also threw a pass left-handed once. It happened.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. More what? The Texans beat the Jaguars. The Jaguars, what the fuck is going on here? They look terrible. The Texans consistently getting better.
Yep. And let's talk about the Jaguars real quick. This team, this entire year, has not looked right.
Yeah,
They've won
what is
games,
going on?
But they haven't looked right.
There's always that one team that everybody like jumps on the bandwagon of for reasons that aren't entirely rational, and it's starting to feel like Jacksonville might be that team. Like the pieces are all there, and I obviously don't think it's Lawrence's fault, but something doesn't add up there.
Yeah, and I like Peterson. Weird. I think he's a damn fine coach. And, maybe the defense. I mean, they are underperforming, but I mean, this whole team just feels flat. I get no excitement like I did like toward the tail end of last year.
And they have more talent than they had last year, but they're not as good.
Absolutely,
it's bizarre. I'm really depressed about CJ Stroud being good, even though I thought he was good.
He is really good.
I thought he was good in the first place. And he's good. And this fucking Texans offense isn't good. Like, he is good. He's making them better. Like, is Tank Dell really that good? You could probably answer this question for me, Drew.
Tank Dell is that good.
Okay. All right. So he's got some weapons.
Tank Dell has the same problem as Bryce Young, which is he's undersized.
Yeah.
But
okay.
If you
not as bad when you're a receiver.
If you watched Tank,
there you go.
If you watch Tank at University of Houston playing in Dana Holgerson's offense, which makes no sense to any rational person who's watched football, like he excels in that offense. And if you want the guy with the prototype wide receiver, just get the ball to me and let me figure it out personality, Tank Dell is that guy. His irrational confidence is off the charts.
Okay.
I like Damon Pierce too. I mean, like I think he's a good fit for that team. So.
Tank Dell's the J.R. Smith of the NFL.
Yeah, and by the way, his name is Tank, but he's like 5'8". So
right. Anyway, I'm depressed about CJ Stroud, but good for him. Man alive. He looks good.
Yeah, he does.
Makes me upset.
Don't worry. Houston will ruin that for you before too long.
I hope so. Please.
They're not allowed to have nice things.
I also I feel good about D'Amico Ryan's Ryan's in there, like celebrating, like, yeah, like they want to play hard for me.
You know what's weird?
I can appreciate that.
There's a couple, like when I used to play Madden regularly, one of the things that would happen is your players would become your coaches, like later on if you're doing franchise mode.
Yes.
And like that's what this strikes me as is like D'Amico suddenly progressed long enough where now he's a coach. Because it is kind of weird to think of D'Amico Ryans as a head coach. He's good.
Mark, you know the story well enough. That's how I ended up with Super Bowl winning head coach Rod Smart at one point.
He hate me.
Redemption arc of all redemption arcs.
He hate me was your coach?
Yeah.
He was my special teams coordinator, and then for some reason I promoted him to head coach. From special teams to head coach.
Okay.
And won the Super Bowl.
I love he hate me because he was in the XFL, of course. Big wrestling fan, XFL. But then he was the Panthers kick returner, and he returned a couple for touchdowns during that big 2003 season.
That year, when they played in the Super Bowl, and I don't need to tell you the whole story, but
the
Patriots had to kick off with like 4 seconds left or whatever, and I was like, please, just and merciful God, let me see Super Bowl champion. He hate me. Like,
oh my God.
Let him find inspiration and take this one to the end zone and defeat the evil empire, which of course unfortunately didn't happen. But
no, it didn't.
Fucking John Casey. Chicken in bounds.
Him so much.
There's a whole story about Todd Sauerbrunn there that involves me in college and some people, and it's not worth going into. But anyway.
Don't make me drink more and be depressed. Colts beat the Ravens out of nowhere.
Yeah. Right.
Gardner Minshew. Got a Minshew.
What did I read about the Colts record against the Raven? It's really good. Like the last couple of years, the Colts have just kind of handled them. It's just been like, certain teams you kind of figure out another team, especially, it's just
yeah.
If you're in the
the Ravens were missing 7 starters in this game.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So really, the story for the Ravens hasn't changed. If the Ravens are healthy, they're great, and they're never healthy.
Right.
It looked the same as last year when it was bad. That's what it looked like to me.
Mm-hmm.
How is this happening again?
There's another team right there, the Ravens, that just don't feel right.
Don't feel right either.
Right, something's off.
Right, something's off, and maybe it is injuries, or maybe it's just like them needing time to gel with Lamar again. But at least right now, I don't get that Super Bowl vibe from them.
No. All right, we're moving on to new category. Ritter me this.
Oh, go to your room.
Desmond Ritter was 18 for 40 in this game. And the Lions win. What the hell? Ritter got a Ritter. He looked as bad as he could. He was awesome.
The most astounding stat I saw in this game didn't have anything to do with Ritter. Had everything to do with the Lions. The Lions lead the league currently in consecutive games scoring 20 or more points.
Wow.
You could have given me 31 guesses and I would not have guessed the Lions.
Yeah.
That is unbelievable.
Yeah.
Jared Goff ran for a touchdown in this one. That was also bizarre. Good for the Lions, I guess. But wow, Falcons look terrible in this game. Absolutely terrible.
I mean, it's early NFL, so there's going to be a lot of inconsistency. I would say probably through at least week 5.
We are coming to that point in the season, to Mark's point. Like, we're not quite there yet, but in another 2 weeks, we're going to be at that point in the season where we might have to evaluate that there's just a lot of mediocre teams in the league this year.
Okay. Yeah, right. I was going to bring this up later, but I think we need to go back to our tier list. If not next week, maybe the week after. You let me know. Yeah. And go back to the Diddly Poo list and let's re-rank where we're at. We need to do that. Here's some stats from the Falcons. All right, ready? Bijan Robinson was only given 10 carries, 33 yards. That's it. Desmond Ritter was 21 of 38, sacked 7 times for a loss of 62 total yards. He also fumbled. This was not good.
No, my God.
And it's the Lions defense. I mean, we just saw them get absolutely ran off the field by the Seahawks.
Yeah.
We're not talking about the Call Nation defense. We're talking about the Seahawks. We're talking about the Atlanta Falcons. Come on. Oh boy.
The Falcons can talk all they want about how Desmond Ritter is their guy, but next year he ain't going to be the guy.
He's not going to be their guy.
And that's for the best. He's fine as a backup. I would definitely hold on to him, but you got to find somebody else because this team does have a lot of talent.
I'm just hoping. I suddenly find myself hoping that there's a timeline where the Jets and the Falcons realize their mistake and just swap Ritter for Wilson and the hell with it.
Yep.
Let's try it. Let's just switch it up. All right. Bunch of teams in this category. This is the category. We in trouble? Packers come back against the Saints. I feel bad for the Saints. I mean, I don't like the Saints, but I feel bad for the Saints. They were winning this game. They were making the Packers not look very good. They had Derek Carr, and then suddenly Derek Carr was without shoulder. And then the Packers returned with a big comeback and won. And the Saints season is going like this now because who knows how long Derek Carr is out.
Well, and also you have to live with Jameis in the interim.
And you, what did you say? You summoned him?
I brought him back. I'm sorry. I
summoned him from football foobar to starting quarterback.
From the seafood aisle, I brought back Jameis. I feel so bad for Saints
from the seafood aisle. He's back.
Oh no! And he looked just.
Oh my God! The Saints were on the verge of going 3-0 and beating the Packers on a real nice win, and instead they got Jameis Winston as a quarterback.
Oh my God!
And they're 2-1.
I gotta find it out. Mark, what was that backhanded stat you sent about the interceptions and Jameis Winston?
It was like the first time somebody thrown 4 interceptions or something like that, and then got sacked X amount of times.
God, I gotta find it. Hold on.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
It was a really good stat.
I mean, good for the Packers. I'll say Jordan Love while you're looking that up. Jordan Love, he's got a nice ball. Like when he throws it,
I like Jordan Love, man.
He has a nice. Right. He didn't connect on several long balls in this game, but man, when he lets it go and he has time and plants his feet, it looks really good. He's got a nice deep ball. I know it sounds weird to say that. Did you find the stat?
I found the stat. I got it.
Okay, right. Yes, please go ahead.
So this is per ESPN Stats Info Twitter account, or X, whatever the fuck it's called. Sam Howell has an interception in each quarter today. There have been 4 occurrences of an interception per quarter since 2015. This is the first time that it wasn't by Jameis Winston.
Oh.
Who had 3 instances of that happening to him.
3 times that happened. Yeah. Oh my God.
That's such a great stat.
Oh my God.
Famous Jameis.
Well, we'll see him a lot more, I think, for at least a few weeks, maybe
what
more.
What was the prognosis for him? I mean,
they said not season ending, but several weeks out. Yeah. So we'll see. I mean, that's not good. If you're a quarterback with a fucked up shoulder,
yeah, right.
You don't need. That's not good. That's not going to get healthy without rest. But
at least they are resting him, unlike other teams.
All right, in trouble. How are the Raiders in deep trouble here? They get beat by baby hands. The Steelers look great-ish. How much trouble are the Raiders in? Garoppolo throws 3 picks in this one.
Functionally two picks. Not that I'm going to come running.
The last one was a desperation throw. Yeah, okay.
But there's a whole bunch that went wrong in this game.
Field goal. What was it? They didn't go for it on 4th down. They kicked a field goal with no time left.
They kicked a field goal,
but they had 3 timeouts.
They tried to kick a field goal with 4.5 minutes left or whatever. That would have been a long field goal, but then they got a 15-yard penalty to get a much shorter field goal on a 1st down. But then, of course, they couldn't move the ball again, so they go 3 and out. They go to kick the field goal again. But it's at that point, should they have gone for it to then try and get the touchdown because they were much closer and blah, 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 yak. The problem is they're not good. And I understand it's a perfect sign that they're not good, and it's the perfect nightmare for sports in Las Vegas. I understand that every airport in the United States has a direct flight to Las Vegas that's reasonably affordable. But all the Steelers players in the postgame talked about how that felt like a home game for them. And that's a real bad sign. Because that means people are going to lose interest in the Raiders. And if that stadium's half empty, there's no reason for that team to be there. But part of the other thing that's going on here is I know there's a lot of hype around Micah Parsons, and rightfully so. TJ Watt is quietly reminding people why he might actually be the best defensive player in football. I know I set the under-over for him in sacks at 3.5, and obviously he went under that, but he still had 2, and he had a fumble recovery that only got called off because of a penalty. That dude is unbelievable. But if you're the Raiders, are you in deep trouble? I don't know that you were ever out of deep trouble. The fact that you beat the fact that you beat the Broncos is a very low hurdle to clear at this point.
Clearly.
So I don't know. They're just bad. There's, Marcus Peters drops what should have been a sure pick 6, and it was a perfect Raiders performance, like the Raiders do every week, like the Raiders did against Buffalo. They their Josh McDaniels is returning to his old Patriots roots. They open the game with a script of 15 plays they're going to run that nobody can stop, and then after that they have no clue what they're going to do, and it totally falls apart. They're just not a good team. There's nothing more to be said about it. They're just not that good.
I appreciated them trying to get Josh Jacobs back into it because he is going to shake that rust off eventually.
Maybe.
No, he played better in this game.
The other alarming thing, I track the turnovers. 3 straight weeks, no turnovers forced for the Raiders. Never mind a recovered fumble, not even a forced fumble. And the kid they picked number 7 overall doesn't even appear in the box score.
Really? Who was that again?
Tyree Wilson, Texas Tech. Now, I grant you, he apparently had the flu all week, so they were going to limit his snaps and stuff like that. But no tackles, no tackle assisted, no quarterback hurries, no nothing. So, a lot of tackles for Divine Diablo.
I do like him.
He was on TV a lot.
Yeah. And Max Crosby looks good and Devontae Adams looks good, but they have pieces. They don't have a team. They're not good.
I was convinced, by the way, that Chris Collinsworth only knew 2 players, one on each side. He knew TJ Watt and he knew Max Crosby, and that was it.
Yeah. Although in that game, who else do you really need to know?
Oh, I know.
Yeah, he didn't need to know anybody else.
They play the Chargers next week or this.
Oh baby.
Okay, I feel like you're going to get a turnover because Herbert's the only one who hasn't gotten a turnover yet, and I feel like this is just the way the NFL operates now. Is when you assume nothing's going to happen, that's when he's going to throw 4 interceptions.
Yeah,
you mean he's going to commit a howl? 5 turnovers by himself.
And by the way, of course, Jimmy Garoppolo suffers a concussion, so here comes the Brian Hoyer era.
Oh boy. All right. In trouble. Philadelphia Eagles. They won, but they did not look good again. They still don't look right. They're 3-0. I mean, they beat the Bucs. Whatever.
Let Baker bite.
I'm not impressed. Baker Mayfield got absolutely annihilated on that one pass.
Uh,
Annihilated. And he tried to get up and be like, look at me, but even he couldn't do it. He was just
very
like,
wobbly.
oh, God. He got killed.
Baker. I do.
I mean,
like
sure,
I like
he's
the swag. I just
guy,
something about him I like.
Boy, oh boy.
Then he turned toward the Kansas sideline and pretended to masturbate. Let's not forget that, everybody. That happened.
Yep.
That's your Heisman Trophy winner.
Yeah, he did that. The Eagles don't look right, though.
No,
they don't look good.
Yeah.
Something's off. I mean, they won. They're 3-0. Good for them.
That defensive line of the Eagles is still pretty good.
It's scary. I mean, they got the safety. That's keeping them alive here.
Oh, yeah. No, definitely. And that Georgia kid.
Which one? They got
12.
The murderer? Who may or may not have murdered somebody.
Oh, yeah, Jordan Carter.
Jalen Carter.
He's good.
I don't know. I just don't feel like this was a good win for the Eagles. I know they won and, all that. They beat a Bucs team that's trying, but I still don't think they look good.
Man, Drew, you're right. There's a lot of muddled middle here in the NFL right now.
I can't wait to
the Orton line is going to be unforgiving.
Oh my God!
I can't wait for that. I can't wait for
Commanders play the Eagles next week.
I mean, listen. Let's not to backtrack. I say this not being facetious. Right now, never mind history, because obviously history factors into the Orton line some. Never mind history. Right now, today, is Josh Dobbs above the Orton line?
Yeah.
And that's depressing.
He is, and he's above several people who you would think shouldn't be.
When we set the Orton line, I'm going to be the most conservative I think I've ever been with the Orton line ever. I'm going to really gun for like a high Orton line, as high as I can convince you and our other compatriots.
Because that's the problem. Not only would Josh Dobbs be above the Orton line right now today, but the problem is that Arizona doesn't want him as their long-term solution.
Right. They definitely don't.
Caleb Williams' dad is terrified about this.
Is there a team that currently sucks? Hold on. We're going to take a little stop here. Okay. Is there a team that Caleb Williams' dad would want Caleb Williams to go to who's like 1 win or no wins right now?
Honestly, I think Denver's on that list.
Yeah, 100%. That's what I was saying.
I think Denver would be thought of as a reputable organization that's having a crap year and needs a quarterback.
Yeah.
What about the Raiders?
No?
You don't think so?
Although, we're missing the obvious one, which is Caleb Williams to the Jets.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh my God! Don't do that.
That would make them. I don't know, man. And I understand I'm on the record that I think C.J. Stroud last year was better than Caleb Williams this year, but Caleb Williams to the Jets, I think, makes them an automatic playoff team.
Yep.
Automatic.
I'm just looking at some of the other teams here.
What a coup that would be.
Because, by the way, the Packers are not going to get the Jets' first-round pick now.
No.
So the Jets are in control of their own first-round pick.
Okay. Still would be tough to get up there. I don't know if they'll be as bad as some of the other. I mean, the Bears and the Panthers are going to be above them.
They would have to get around the naval blockade of the Bears and the Bears and the Cardinals.
Yeah.
What do you think the odds are right now that he will stay another year? Hypothetically, let's say the Cardinals have the number 1 or the Bears have the number 1 pick.
I still think he goes. I think he goes. I think he goes no matter what.
Yep, I think he does too.
And he could go and say, "Fuck you, I'm not going to the Bears or whatever."
Yeah,
right? Like a John Elway thing.
Cool. I mean, get your money that way.
And but NIL be damned. First overall pick money's real money.
Right.
We're talking about $37 or $38 million.
I think he goes
instead of 1.
Yeah, it's to me the only way he doesn't go is either, and I wouldn't wish this on anybody, if his season ends in injury, or if they get to the national championship game and absolutely lose a gut puncher, where he would feel like he has unfinished business and has to come back.
Sure.
But that's it. Those are the only 2 circumstances under which I think he would return to USC.
Okay. One more. Are they in trouble? I guess it could be for both teams. The Bengals.
University of Memphis uniforms.
Barely survive.
I dig those uniforms, but
I like them too. I really like those. Yeah.
They barely survive against this Rams team. Burrow looked a little bit better.
Sort of.
But still was kind of limping around.
That's the healing power of Jaylen Brown money.
Yeah.
He's
I say
taking
it
those
every week.
money baths between
I am
games.
so happy he got paid because I would be so uncomfortable watching this man if he was out there without a contract.
He's still limping around. He's flat out limping around between
right,
plays.
But now at least he has his money to fall back on. So good for him.
Right.
Are
they in trouble? Are the Bengals in trouble? Or are they on their way to better things?
I don't know.
I think they're still in trouble.
Yeah, I think so too.
Mark's partisanship of the Rams notwithstanding,
right?
I don't know that I would put the Rams as one of the great teams in the league. So a victory over them is good, but I don't know that it's like our season is turned around.
Yeah.
I just said the Rams make the playoffs, okay, and I'm still standing by that. I'm just saying in a weak NFC, this team is making the playoffs.
Just saying, Matthew Stafford's below the Orton line.
Yes, he is.
Oh. When does the Orton line come out for reference?
After week 8.
Yeah.
After week 8 and then after the Super Bowl.
Right. Okay. Look forward to that. That'll be on the show. We'll talk about that. All right. Category that I put too late in this rundown, mirror match. Every once in a while we have the mirror match, which is when, if you missed the last few episodes, when Mortal Kombat, you have 2 Sub-Zeros and one slightly shaded differently in blue than the other. But really they're the same. They have the same moves. The Chargers and the Vikings, they're the same team playing. They're literally the same team. Stupid head coach, good offense, bad defense, weird decision making. Throwing it up. Let's go. I wish they would play every week.
Who wants at least?
Who can screw this up more?
Mm-hmm.
Let's just fast forward to the end of the game. Brandon Staley went for it on his own 30-yard line on like 4th and 6 and didn't make it, giving the Vikings basically a 1st and goal almost. They were basically in the red zone to win the game. All they had to do was score, and they were already in the red zone.
That's an awful lot of pressure on Kirk.
Why? Yeah, maybe that was the strategy. Like, let's put too much pressure on Kirk. But what are you doing? And also, Staley, his 4th down, we talked about this last year. It's not new. Everybody talks about it. His going for it on 4th down makes absolutely no sense. Sometimes he won't go for it when he should. Other times it makes what are you doing? You're winning the game.
He's playing like Vulcan chess. You just don't get it.
What is happening? That tiered chess?
Yeah.
Can I just slide out there?
Yes.
Future Falcons quarterback Kirk Cousins.
Oh my God.
Also, because I have nothing constructive to say about this game, because this already struck me as a who gives a shit game. Is anybody going to play Mortal Kombat 1? Because I need somebody to play it who's not me and tell me if it's good.
I think I am planning on getting it. I do.
Okay.
What I heard, it's very good. So.
The previews look amazing, but the Mortal Kombat has such a dubious track record. I don't know that I want to dump the money into it right away. I need somebody else to tell me if it's good.
Apparently, the plot also is like a zany Marvel Secret Wars like type of thing. So.
Why is
the Venom symbiote?
Yeah, right.
Why is everything Secret Wars all of a sudden? Every single thing is a multiverse.
Mm-hmm.
Ah, boy. How do you go from what was the last Mortal Kombat? Like 14 to back to 1? What are we doing?
There was XL. That one came out, and then there was
There was one a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Why are we back on 1? What happened?
Well, this is they've redone Mortal Kombat 1.
Right.
This is not the next in line. This is the first.
We're back at the beginning.
The timeline has been reset, basically.
Nor is it, to quote Ronnie James Dio, the last in line. There will be more Mortal Kombat, but yes, this is allegedly somebody went back and realized that the first Mortal Kombat never really had a plot.
No,
they're redoing the first one.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe.
I'm assuming someone still yells "toasty" under certain conditions.
I hope so.
Such fond memories of that game.
Oh, it was so fun. I was so excited to have it.
You go there, the arcade, watch Mortal Kombat, then go play NFL Blitz.
What was
maybe you pass deep to Alfred Papunu at some point and break one of your friends' hearts. So.
Mortal Kombat 2,
multiple times.
when you could uppercut people like through the spikes and all that was always fun.
I was a big Baraka fan. I think I'm the only one who was.
Baraka?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Not my fave, but I get it. I respect the choice. So.
All right, let's go back to this game real quick, to the end of this game.
No, this is more fun.
I know. Let's talk about. We talked about how
Charles
stupid.
Barkley. I want to talk about good teams.
Let's talk about how stupid the Vikings are for a second. Just for a second, because the end of the game, they had obviously a very good chance to win this game, and then somehow blew it because of the Vikings. They had 30-something seconds on the clock. They did not spike it. They didn't call a play. They randomly threw a pass with like 8 seconds left on the clock, and then it was an interception, and they lost. Bailing out Brandon Staley, because I'm pretty sure he would have been fired like before he even left the stadium.
Oh yeah,
had he lost that game. But they bailed him out. And then we get the explanation about what happened from Kirk Cousins. And that's even weirder. Because he's like, well, I couldn't hear the play.
Yeah.
You're at home, my guy.
Right.
I couldn't hear the play. I have the ability to call audibles on the fly, but I didn't do it. I could have spiked it, but I didn't do it because I was trying to get a play from the coach. But then the coach called the same play I was thinking of anyway when I called it, so it's all good. Yo, my guy, you didn't spike it. You lost the game on a pick. What are you even talking about?
I felt like he blamed the fans with this
explanation. Yes, he did.
You're too loud, fans, and also it's not my fault.
Yeah.
Get back in your flannel and your minivan and go to Kohl's and start picking out some new clothes.
The
Fucking
human
Christ.
embodiment of Kohl's cash.
All right, the ballad of the 2023 Carolina Panthers. Andy Dalton played. He looked a lot. He made the offense look better. They threw a touchdown from more than 8 yards away, but the Seahawks are better. So, God damn it, the defense wasn't good. They couldn't stop the run. Which the Panthers, I would love for them to stop the run. They haven't stopped the run since 2006. They haven't been able to stop the run for years.
Where's Star Lodalay when you need him?
Yeah, what happened? Why can we not stop the run?
Where's Lamar Lathan?
Oh, God. Tugging my heartstrings. Anyway, the ballad is we're 0-3. Andy Dalton's the quarterback. Also, Bryce Young has a ankle injury that he suffered in the first quarter. Is this a fake injury or is it just me?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
yes,
it's fake.
This is 100% a fake.
Honestly,
injury.
I kind of respect that. It's like, just take 2 weeks, man. Just reassess where you're at.
Jesus
watch it from the sidelines.
How can you be
hurts? But
how can you be a professional athlete and then be told fake an ankle injury and be okay with it? I don't know.
I'm just saying, Ryan. There's plenty of room left on the Caw Nation bandwagon.
Yeah, I'm coming to Caw Nation.
Like lots of room left.
Yeah, right.
Can Jeff Fisher become the coach? Then I'll really be in. Maybe I need Jeff Fisher as my NFL coach. Holy shit. All right. Last segment. Ding dong kicks.
Yay!
The Patriots beat the Jets in a boring game, except for Mac Jones is kicking people in the wang, which he's done several times. Not just this time. Tried to kicked. He kicked Sauce Gardner in the balls.
Yep.
Who did he kick last year?
Brisker from the Bears.
Okay, and then the year before, he attempted to kick Brian Burns in the balls.
Right.
This is becoming he's like the Chris Paul of the NFL. He's just putting people in the nuts.
He's like that Dolphins defensive tackle who always grabs ass for some reason.
He's you know what he is? He's as I said in the text message, he's the NFL Draymond Green, but it's worse because he's Mac Jones and because of his haircut and image and the whole thing. He's like the worst possible combination of Draymond Green and Grayson Allen, all in one person.
He's just. It's so funny because he's just he's like the last person I would think to break out the monkey steals the peaches move. So.
Oh my God. I don't know what else to say about this game. The Jets are just hapless on offense.
There are several things to say, which is I've wondered, at this point, and obviously Nathaniel Hackett's taken a lot of flack over the last year. How many times this season has Nathaniel Hackett walked into Robert Saleh's office and closed the door behind him and just gone, dude, what do you want me to do?
Mm-hmm.
Now they've signed Trevor Siemian, which, by the way, makes them no better.
Yeah.
No.
And I was watching this game with my brother, who is a lifelong Jets fan, and my dad and my mom, who are my dad is a Jets fan, my mom is a Jets sympathizer. My mom proclaims that the Jets don't have enough fat men on their offensive line, which is probably true.
Okay.
And my brother openly pined for the return of Mark Sanchez. And not 2008 Mark Sanchez, but
Just
Mark
now.
Sanchez today. He also said he would consider taking back Joe Flacco if he'll pick up his phone.
Oh, man. We don't think Trevor Siemian is even slightly better than Zach Wilson. I feel like he kind of is.
The best, he's got to be, right? The best hope of Zach Wilson. All Zach Wilson needed to do was every time he took the snap and dropped back into the pocket, all that should have been flashing across his eyes like the Televiper from the old G.I. Joe cartoon is Trent Dilfer. Like, that's all he needed to be. And they would have been fine. And he couldn't do that.
I'm looking it up right now.
Yeah.
I feel like, man, they just got their. I'm looking at the running stats in particular.
It's not good.
They couldn't run the ball either.
Not. I mean, that's I give props to the Patriots on that one for shutting the weapons that they have down. I mean, Breece Hall, 12 carries, 18 yards. That's
also they're fighting on the sideline too. Like we saw it again.
Yeah. What is it? Aaron
Wilson.
Rodgers come out and basically say like this team's got to grow up.
Yeah.
Yikes. Well, it's time for our segments. Let's start with the sad boy boat. Only seats 4 people. Obviously, number 1 draft pick 3 of all time is our guy.
Yeah,
our guy Sean Payton.
Is he 1 through 4? Is he all 4 spots?
Yeah. Can he get all 4?
Yeah.
Should we make it easy on ourselves this week and just put Payton? That's kind of funny. Let's do it. Why not?
Let's do it. There you go.
You know what? I agree.
I mean, when you get 70 dropped on you,
you said like what other time can we do this? 4-time winner.
Just save a spot on the back of the boat for Fred Durst. Thanks. Good touch.
Fred Durst.
I do think Brian Daboll should be pulled behind the boat
on his jet ski. No, his jet ski is towing the boat. That's
right.
How
drinking?
How sad can he be with licking those lips like he's having a ball out there? How sad can he be?
He wasn't at bar just yet. He should have calmed down.
Oh my God. All right. It's time for broadcasting moments of the week. I've got a couple. You can find these on our Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it. September 22nd, 2007 was a special anniversary for
I'm a man. I'm 40.
Yay.
Our guy, I'm a man, I'm 40. Special anniversary. We've got Daboll licking his lips. We talked about that already. Mike McDaniel, ball boy.
Mm-hmm.
We've got him. Mike McDaniel, ball boy. Which Bleacher Report Gridiron said, there's nothing worse than getting blown out by your own ball boy. Jets.
Told him to go get his shine box.
Oh, God. Did you see this clip of the Jets fan, the older Jets fan, yelling so much that his dentures fell out? Did you see that clip? His dentures fall out, and on Red Zone, I think it was even captured. And what's the glue? Invisalign? Is that what it's called? Mm-hmm. Like, get some more Invisalign was the line on Red Zone. I love this one. I'm not a huge Barstool guy, but this is funny. Barstool Big Cat said, "This Chiefs-Bears game was invite your new girlfriend into the game because you know it's going to be blowout and you're going to be awesome. The Bears are basically an FCS September game at this point, or a high school homecoming game." We saw this earlier. Tyreek Hill saying on a stream, "Bro, when I retire, I want to be a porn star." Very serious. You think I got that? Well, Mike Evans was on the stream and he replied, "Nah, I mean, whatever you want, bro." It says, Mike Evans, speechless, eventually says, "Nah, man, I mean, whatever you want, bro." Oh, God. Welcome to Broadcasting Moments of the Week. It's time for Greg's bets.
Yes.
I got them. I got them here. Hold on. Let me pull those up. Greg's bets. We can share that screen. There he is.
There he is. Right.
Week 4 of Greg bets. It was a sad week for sad boy Greg last week. He went 1 for 5. 1 for 5. But we're back. Dolphins +3 versus the Bills.
You can see that.
Buccaneers +3.5 versus Saints. Texans +3 against the Steelers. Seahawks +1.5 against the Giants. And he's back with the Bears. Bears +13 versus the Broncos.
I do love that Texans bet. I think I texted him actually about that. I just think
+3 against the Steelers.
If they get into a shootout, I think if the Texans are going to win, they're going to have to pass a lot. And I feel like they can do that against the Steelers. Steelers have a great front seven. Secondary, not as good. So I feel like, other than Fitzpatrick, I feel like they could definitely get up big, and then the baby hands cannot go in a shootout on this. So
can we circle that game on the bottom? Are the Bears so bad that they are a 13-point dog to the Broncos, who just got 70 dropped on them?
Apparently.
Is that really?
God,
You're right. I just looked at that, Drew. Hold on.
Apparently.
I would run screaming away from that game as a gambler.
But I think that was the one game Greg won last week was the Bears +13 Chiefs. And also, very important to point out here, 0 ambient bets. There were 0 ambient bets again. What is this guy doing? Why is he not going to sleep and betting games in the NFL?
That's what we're here for.
That's what we need.
In his defense, it says 0 ambient bets related to his NFL bets. For all we know, he's putting down big money on the WNBA playoffs. Like big money.
I assume that's still going on.
It is, as a matter of fact.
It is. All right. Time for Drew's striped spiral segment. Yes. College football. We got to talk about Deion Sanders. Are we talking about Colorado getting blown out?
First, our weekly check-in. Nebraska won. Sorry.
Oh, no.
They beat Louisiana Tech, so they're 2-2.
Okay, whatever.
But name someone who's played for Louisiana Tech since Terry Bradshaw.
I didn't even know that.
Although, okay, DeColdest Crawford of the famous Nebraska commercial transferred to Louisiana Tech.
Like just did?
In the offseason, yes.
Oh, okay.
But there's only 2 things here everybody wants to talk about, which is one, start with Colorado.
Yes.
Now, and I said this last week, Deion himself has been very upfront the whole time that he doesn't believe his team is ready for top-level competition yet. That in particular, he needs better players in the trenches. And he has been saying that since training camp. He's been very upfront about this. Everybody kind of chose to ignore him when they got off to a 3-0 start. But boy, they saw a team the likes of which they have not seen yet.
Yeah.
And they got a lot more of those teams on their schedule. Yeah, as it turns out, Deion was right. I mean, I thought it would be bad. I didn't think it would be that bad.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Oregon could have put up 60 in that game. Easy. But called off the Dogs. And clearly called off the Dogs because that game also could have been 60-0.
Yeah.
And it wasn't. But that's what a legit top 10 team with 4 and 5-star guys looks like. And also, Shedeur Sanders is great, but you consider like where he's played in his career, that's the best defense he's ever seen.
Yeah, right.
It's the best defense he's ever seen. And boy, they made him look like it. And Travis Hunter's out, whatever. Travis Hunter doesn't make a difference of 42-6. Not like that.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Travis Hunter plays and maybe it ends up being 35-10.
Yeah,
but
still a blowout.
Colorado looked the part in that game, and Oregon and Oregon. Oh, by the way, is really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and Colorado now gets the privilege of hosting Caleb Williams at home.
What does Caleb Williams' dad think about that?
Caleb Williams' dad thinks Caleb Williams is not transferring to Colorado. But now Oregon's got a really good defense. I think a better defense than USC. Is it possible that Colorado kind of reevaluates their scheme and gets some stuff together and scores more points in that game and is at least competitive at the half? Yes. Is USC going to put them under their boot? Probably.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't get a ton easier for Colorado because they still have to play Washington State, Oregon State, and Utah and UCLA and Utah. They get Utah right at the end of the season. Utah, who's won 2 games without their starting quarterback because that's how physical their defense is.
Yeah.
And it could, Colorado is still in a window where they could finish the season 5-7 or 6-6. And by the way, that would be a tremendous success for them based on where they were last year. If they get to bowl eligibility, that's the biggest thing that could happen to that program this year. Do they still have it in them to beat one of those teams with Travis Hunter back on the right day? Yeah, sure. I wouldn't say it's impossible. They could beat UCLA, but everybody saw just what that hype train was worth against a team who, as Oregon's coach Dan Lanning said, plays for wins and not for clicks, and went out and proved it.
Yeah.
So that's sort of the situation with Colorado.
What was the so like like Oregon really talked about how they felt underappreciated going into this game. Like they felt like Colorado was talking a lot of shit, and I don't remember seeing any stories that came out about that, but it really seemed to motivate the Oregon. So whoever was in charge of like bulletin board material, they must have found some stuff because Oregon really wanted to kick their ass.
Yeah, and it's Oregon, if nothing else, felt like they were rolling into that game as a top 10 team in the country, and nobody wanted to talk about them.
Right. Yeah.
This is the closest analog I can think of, and this goes back a number of years, was that first Indy 500 where Danica Patrick finished fourth.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody, rightfully so, talked about, Danica Patrick finished fourth in her debut Indy 500, and it was a big deal. The next week at like their media day and fan signing, Dan Weldon wore a t-shirt that said, "I actually won the Indy 500." He unfortunately is no longer with us, but like that's the closest parallel I can think of where Oregon's like, wait a minute, we are way better than this team, and we can't get 2 inches of column space versus the suffocation of talking about Colorado.
I mean, I think that's a thing. I really do. I think it's hard. The players will always say they tune it out. I don't go on social media I tune it out. I don't really hear what people are saying. Everybody hears.
They know
what's been said. Somebody in the locker room will spread it. Somebody will put up an article or link it to something.
And oh, by the way, Dan Lanning's got a guy who's like a GA on his squad whose job is specifically to scour their social media and find stuff that's been said either to or about them. But yeah, it's Oregon did exactly what Colorado State did, which was get pressure on Shedeur, flush him out, and then beat them with better athletes. They ran a bunch of shallow routes, and then the defense had to cheat up, and then they just started gashing them, and it got real ugly real fast. So we'll see what happens with Colorado going forward. But I think some of the, I don't know that Lil Wayne's going to show up next week when USC's in the house. And if he is, he's probably going to be wearing a USC jacket and hanging out with Caleb Williams' dad on the sideline.
Who's wearing a Bills shirt for some reason.
A 49ers
shirt. Going there, Caleb Williams.
He's wearing a 49ers jersey.
Yeah. The other story from the weekend, and this is the one that almost interests me more, is Ohio State and Notre Dame.
Yeah,
and not even having anything to do with Notre Dame running the final play with 10 defenders on the field. That's a whole debacle. That's unbelievable.
That was special.
Has everything to do with Ryan Day in the
his post game.
His post game interview on the field and his actual post game press conference. Ryan Day is to this point has been like the British prime minister of top football coaches. Like, he never says anything interesting. He's not a particularly outgoing guy, and he's not like a surly or rude guy. He's just not an excitable person. He quietly goes about his business, has a top 10 team, loses in the playoff, beats Michigan, and goes about his business. Suddenly he blows up in the post game about how it's Ohio versus the world, and it's always been Ohio versus the world, and it's always going to be Ohio versus the world. And bro, you were a 3-point favorite on the road in that game. So, I don't think anybody went into that game thinking about, oh, these plucky Buckeyes, we've never seen them before. Like, that hasn't been true in more than 30 years.
Right.
So I don't know where he's concocting this narrative from. And then on top of that, he comes out and decides to start a feud with an 86-year-old man in Lou Holtz.
Tell me what's going on there. I'm so out of the loop on why is Lou Holtz all of a sudden back in the news?
So Lou Holtz, who, Lou Holtz, obviously a famous Notre Dame head coach.
Right.
He was on, so if the game was Saturday, on Friday, he was on Pat McAfee's show, which, by the way, was taking place on the campus of Notre Dame, and said that he thought Notre Dame would win because Ohio State has been soft in big games under Ryan Day.
Okay.
Which is, if not exactly true, that's at least a defensible position, considering, their record in the playoff and in the national championship since Urban Meyer left.
It's fair.
It's not totally unreal. Ryan Day apparently really took that personally for reasons that are unknown because, Lou Holtz, the last time he coached a team, Ryan Day was a graduate assistant at Boston College. And oh, by the way, Lou Holtz is also old enough that when he started coaching, I think segregation was still a viable political platform.
Oh my God.
And for some reason, Ryan Day decided to start a feud with an 86-year-old man who hasn't coached in more than half of Ryan Day's life. It's just a weird look. It's a weird look for a guy who seems like he's putting it out there, trying to draw attention to his program, which one, doesn't need attention drawn to it, and two, looks even weirder from a guy who's never done that before.
Right.
Yeah.
He really must have got rubbed the wrong way there to react that strangely.
I don't know.
He kept saying, we're tough. We're tough. That's what he kept saying.
There was a report out there that shortly before his on-field interview after the game, he may have turned to his sports information director or his athletic director and said, "Hey, watch this." But even so, it's premeditated. I don't know. The whole thing is very, very strange for a program that doesn't do things like that.
Dude cut a promo. He got a wrestling promo on the right of the field.
And again, for no reason.
Yeah.
It's not like he's coaching James Madison and they rolled into South Bend and beat Notre Dame. You were a 3.5-point favorite in that game.
Right.
And oh, by the way, you were ranked higher than Notre Dame. So why are you suddenly have this chip on your shoulder like nobody's paying attention to you? You're a top 5 team in the country. It's I don't know. It's all very strange. I don't know if he was trying to overshadow Jim Harbaugh being back. I don't know. None of it made any sense. It was all real weird. But in the meantime, sorry. Go ahead.
I was going to say the part that made me laugh was when he stopped for a second and realized he had kind of gone over the edge, and he goes, "I need to calm down right now." To answer the next question.
If you happen to see the very end of his post-game press conference, not the one on the field, but the one in the conference in the post-game presser, he rails on about a whole bunch of stuff. And then he kind of stops and turns to the people around him and starts shaking hands like he's going to leave, and then comes back to the microphone and is like, "And one more thing," and starts railing the same stuff exactly.
And this fucking guy,
they told me to come out here and apologize, and I'm going to do it.
Yeah, it was all very strange. It was all very strange. But in the meantime, we started the season with 133 undefeated teams. We are now down to approximately 30 undefeated teams.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
so we're getting there.
Syracuse,
right,
still undefeated.
And they're just absolute chaos quarterback.
Yeah, well, they're I think playing Clemson this weekend.
So 5-0. All right.
The rubber may meet the road real fast here. But if they beat Clemson, which they've done before,
yes,
they've done before under
Dino Babers.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they're onto something. Certainly, if they win this weekend, they'll end up ranked.
Yeah,
I mean, how much can you hate? You haven't had a relevant quarterback since Donovan McNabb, and even he wasn't that great in college. How upset can you be?
He took him to the Orange Bowl. I wouldn't undersell Donovan McNabb in college.
Okay. But we're talking about who was it? Ron Paulus was the quarterback at one point. The Duke point guard transferred in to play quarterback for this team. I don't care if they have on crack Josh Allen as their quarterback. I don't care at all. Just be interested.
I think Drew, last week you mentioned that if I forgot who was it, what you were talking about, but it was just if they don't know what they're doing, how can a defense plan?
Defense know what they're doing.
I really feel like the Syracuse quarterback operates under that mantra.
He's the best case scenario. So the last time they beat Clemson at the Dome was with a quarterback named Eric Dungy, who was basically a walking concussion. But Eric Dungy, and I think he played 9 years of college football. But when Eric Dungy was healthy, he was very much the same as this guy. This guy is a rich man's not concussioned Eric Dungy. God knows how he ended up at Syracuse, and God knows if he'll stay at Syracuse. But
I'm here for it.
It's going to be a wild ride at the it's still the Carrier Dome to me, but at the JMA Wireless Dome or whatever the hell it is. But two important games this weekend, which is Notre Dame now with no margin for error because they don't have a conference championship game, so they cannot afford to lose another one. They now go to Duke, who's 17th in the country and is trying to turn themselves into a real program. This could go a long way for both of these teams. Whoa.
Duke University?
Duke University? I hear you can study horticulture there and play running back.
Yes.
So that's the big one this weekend. There are other interesting games on the slate, but that's the monster.
I always like when you get 7-8 weeks in and there's that one undefeated team that's like not in like the top 25, like a team that's in some no-name conference who's just like tearing it up.
Oh yeah, Texas San Antonio is ranked and that's where Tulane has been for like the past 5 years.
Right.
Actually, that's the other one. Utah, Oregon State, big game this weekend, and then a fun one will be Kansas and Texas. I think Texas is going to win that game, especially at home. I mean, they're the third-ranked team in the country. Kansas is 24, but don't sleep on Kansas's quarterback. He is a fun watch, and he will keep them in this game, at least for 3 quarters.
Okay. Wow, there's a lot to watch this week, including on crack Josh Allen, my new favorite college player.
He's so much fun.
I guess it's not crack. It's more like bath salts, probably. Right?
Yeah, I was going to say just a shit ton of energy drinks.
Don't. I mean, what can you get in downtown Syracuse, right? Like
venereal diseases? I don't know.
Yes.
Garbage plates are an hour in the other direction. So.
Yeah. You can get the poor man's version. All right, it's time for a FUBAR?
It's time for FUBAR. FUBAR. So we talked about it earlier. I somehow summoned Jameis back into the world of the living, and I don't like that.
Who do you plan to summon this week?
I desperately hope I don't go 2 for 2 on this. So I can't imagine I would, because there's a little bit of an age gap.
Okay.
But dear God, if anyone's going to do it, it's going to be this lunatic. So we also talked about Mac Jones being a dirty player. So let's talk about one of the dirtiest players in NFL history. Larry Centers should turn off this podcast, because we're going to talk about Bill Romanowski in this football FUBAR induction. So Bill started his career at Boston College, weighing in at 170 pounds and trying to play middle linebacker for BC in 1984. Now, this isn't today's BC, who can only beat Holy Cross. This is like BC. This is the Doug Flutie 1984 BC team. That was his freshman year. So this is the number 5 team in the country, and this is a 170-pound weakling trying to make this team as a middle linebacker. Looked around in this land of giants, and he says, like, I got to get big. Fast. Add some muscle weight, maybe.
And it's the 80s.
So Romanowski put on close to 50 pounds over a span of a year and a half, okay, which is completely natural through good, clean eating, regimented workout, and 10 to 12 anabolics a day. Allegedly. Cover myself there. So after totally naturally putting on the weight, Romanowski was drafted in the 3rd round of the 1988 NFL draft by the San Francisco 49ers. So Romanowski had a 16-year NFL career with 4 Super Bowl wins and 2 Pro Bowls under his belt, spending time with the Eagles, Broncos, and Raiders. Now, during this 16-year span, 2 things were readily apparent. He continually and aggressively abused steroids to give himself an edge that he continues to be open about. He talks about, abusing steroids during this era. And much like what Drew just said, it was the 80s. It was, I'm not going to say accepted, but a lot of guys were doing it. So that is a constant. And also another constant, he is a complete cockwaffle. This guy is one of the biggest dickbags in NFL history. So during his tenure, all I can say is he had horrific examples of dirty play on the field with accusations of racism and roid rage off of it. His own teammates accused him of all this. And we could spend a whole episode going over all of Romanowski's crazy shit. I'm just going to get you some bullet points. All right, some of the famous moments of his career, okay? So in 1996, he kicked Larry Centers, one of the nicest guys in NFL history, kicked him in the head when he was down. Romanowski was ejected and fined. Of course. In 1996, I'm actually kind of amazed he was ejected. Back then, you're like, oh, he's playing tough. In 1997, he performed a helmet-to-helmet hit in the fucking preseason on Kerry Collins and broke his jaw.
Thanks for that.
Kerry was with the Panthers.
Yeah, thanks for doing that, Roma.
Yeah. That was the first time that Kerry noticed how good gin tasted.
There he is. Look at this
No, Kerry was better when he was drunk. That was what I would say. He was better when he was drinking.
So later that same year, he also spit in JJ Stokes' face because, as he said after the game, JJ was, quote, mean to him, end quote. So in 1999, he allegedly hit Tony Gonzalez, also one of the other all-time nicest guys in NFL history, 3 times in a single game, all illegal, before finally realizing they weren't working and then decided to uppercut him. He was kicked out of the game and fined. Later that year, he threw a football at Brian Cox's groin.
That feels
pretty
earned.
Good.
That feels earned.
Brian Cox.
Those two deserve each other.
I don't know what he did, but he deserved that.
Yeah, right.
Now, Romanowski was forced to retire during the 2003 preseason when he savagely punched his own teammate, tight end Marcus Williams, during a fucking scrimmage. What is with this man in preseason?
I remember that one.
He crushed his eye socket, ending Williams' career, and then Williams rightfully sued his ass. Did win because, of course, he did. Like take into any of Romanowski's prior behavior into consideration, and that was meditated. But just because Romanowski was retired doesn't mean Bill was done yet. So Romanowski was caught up in the whole Balco early 2000 steroid scandal, that's where he publicly admitted that he was been using steroids and HGH during his entire college and pro career. Not that we needed the validation or proof, but there you go. I forgot about this one. He famously called Cam Newton boy during the Super Bowl 50 post-game press conference.
Wow.
And then refused to apologize about it, saying it was just a playful thing that he told.
Okay.
Cam. Yep. In 2009, he petitioned and somehow got an interview for the vacant Broncos head coaching position after Mike Shanahan left, and showed team ownership, get this, a 30-slide PowerPoint presentation on why he should get the job. He did not get the job. And to cap all this off, this happened this year, by the way. Cap all this off. He just recently got sued by the IRS, which I didn't think was a thing. I think you just got arrested.
Yeah, right.
He got sued by the IRS because he owes nearly $15.3 million in back taxes. So I guess BC didn't have great business classes back when he was a student. God. So Romanowski, noted meathead, racist, steroid abuser, and tax cheat. Take your seat amongst the hallowed halls of football foobar.
You're telling me you didn't make money off this book?
Yeah, right. With Adam
Romo.
Schefter.
My life on the edge. Living dreams and slaying dragons. What a stupid name for a book.
Didn't the IRS? I've underpaid by like $100 and got threatening letters once on for IRS. $15.3 million.
That's a lot.
Unrelated. This was either when Romanowski played for the Raiders or shortly thereafter. There was a big article on him in maybe SI and concerning his longevity in the sport and the meticulous habits with which he cared for his body and like managed his diet. And the part of it that always stuck with me was the part of the article that said he was actually mailing his feces to a laboratory to have it analyzed to see if his body was passing nutrients incorrectly.
Imagine the poor intern who opened that package.
Oh my God.
You are literally getting a box of shit in the mail.
So there was also one, I feel like it's an anecdotal story, but there was something about him doing something with his kids, like giving them vitamins okay. And I couldn't find any proof of it, so I didn't talk about it,
No, I remember that too.
But it was like, I had this vague memory of him like giving a real weird cocktail to his growing children to get them all in football shape or some bullshit. It was really creepy.
That's weird. Wow.
Yeah.
That was a good one. He deserves it.
Yes, he does.
Bill Romanowski.
So I don't think he's coming back next week. But
no, he might try.
Yeah, right.
Somebody better stop him. The Bears might be able to use him.
Yeah, he can be the next
all right.
coach.
Time for game balls. Give me a game ball, Drew. Who are you gonna give a game ball to this week?
Off topic, my game ball is going to go to Toronto Raptors GM Masai Ujiri for apparently being all in and now leading the Damian Lillard sweepstakes. which I appreciate because this paid off for him with Kawhi Leonard. I don't know if it will for Dame Lillard, but this is a guy who recognizes that from a free agent standpoint, his team is like going to the prison in Star Trek 6. So I appreciate that he's willing to just throw all of his chips in the middle to try and get a guy that he can pay Jaylen Brown money to try and win another title.
Okay. All right, Mark, you got not a FUBAR, a game ball?
Yeah, I mean, I want to give it to Mac Jones for his Bobby Hill cosplay that he's been rocking out. Remember, that's not my purse.
I don't know you.
Oh my God.
You'll see I have no testicles.
Loving finisher.
Best episode.
My game ball is going to not an NFL player, but a college football player. And Drew, you can probably give us a little more detail and background on this. Mine is going to Harrison Mevis, kicker for the Missouri Tigers, who kicked a 61-yard field goal to win against, who was
Kansas
it?
State.
Kansas State.
Number 15.
His nickname is the Thicker Kicker. He's a bit of a big boy.
Okay.
And last year he missed the game-winning kick, and almost a year later, if not a year later, he kicks a game-winning 61-yard field goal. And then his celebration was great. So,
and Mizzou still undefeated, by the way. Took down
They
undefeated Memphis this past weekend, so they're 4-0 now.
Hold on, I'm Googling this guy. Oh, he's not that fat. Oh, he kind of is. Never mind.
They won the they won the Tiger on Tiger Crime Bowl, Memphis and Missouri, so they're undefeated.
Nice.
Yes. Here's a look at our guy. Hold on. Here's a quick look at our boy. There he is.
Ah, svelte.
Look at that.
Svelte.
I gotta log in. Look at him.
Yep. He's a big boy.
He looks so happy though. He looks
He's
so
no
happy.
hefty lefty, but you know.
Oh. Rest in peace to the hefty lefty.
Yeah, right.
That's sad. All right. Time for plugs. Drew, what do you got going on in the music blog?
No new plugs for me this week because I've been lazy. But if you haven't already read it, my compatriots and I joint review of the new Graveyard album, which is excellent, is up on Bloody Good Music.
Bloody Good Music. It is a bloody good website. Blog. I don't know. Are blogs still a thing?
I don't know.
What do you call it?
I don't know.
Internet magazine.
Webzine? Is that
Webzine?
Webzine.
A zine. All
My
right.
journal.
Sounds like it'd have a GeoCities website.
Yeah.
Some sweet angel fire.
Our other podcast, the TGIF podcast, we are hard at work. We will be putting together our virginity episode. Oh, God.
Gotta be with you.
That'll be Thursday.
Episode is being recorded on Thursday and will be out shortly thereafter. If not immediately, like last month, I just put it right out. So we'll see. Virginity episode coming out. Thank you for that, Drew.
We've been texted by our co-host Greg on that one that he's already seen the Family Matters one and has lots of opinions. So should be good. When Greg has opinions, it makes for a good TGIF podcast.
It does. That should be a fun one. Look out for that. We'll be back next week with the Week 4 recap. Hopefully Greg's bets will come in a little better than last time. And come up with a nickname for Drew. Drew needs a nickname.com is a website we don't own.
No.
But we might own soon.
Hold on. Let me look at it's born. Okay.
Not featuring me.
No,
Oh, no, of course not. All right.
Me. Weird.
Oh, it's got Tyreek Hill in it? What the hell? And then somehow Mike Williams is just off to the side being confused and shaking his head no. And then dropping things. He just dropped like his plate, his drink. All right, we're out of here. Pond Long. We'll see you next time. Caw Nation. Peace out.